Hey guys, it's Drew again. They say you can never have too much of a good thing. In the last few weeks, I've received two different gifts from two separate people, both adding to a PC of mine that I want to tell you about. You want to find out what those things are? Well, let's check it out. If you've viewed my channel for any amount of time, you know that one of the cornerstones within my collection is Carl Erskine. Carl Erskine was a pitcher for the Brooklyn Dodgers back from 1948 through 1959, won two World Series with the team both in 1955 and in 59 once they were in Los Angeles. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, I was a guest on Dan's Vintage Baseball PC channel where we did a deep dive and talked all things Carl Erskine. I'll put a link to that down below because it was a great conversation. I really had a good time with that. Well, for the this past Christmas, I received a gift from my wife about Carl Erskine. Now I have all his cards, and there's not really much out there that I don't have. And he's not a Hall of Famer. He's not a Hall of Fame caliber type player, but he was definitely a fan favorite. He was Oisk, from the Brooklynites with that accent. But Carl Erskine, he doesn't have tons of things out there. He wasn't like a marketing person. He was all over a lot of stuff. So it's actually very simple compared to a lot of the other bigger players at the time to get a lot of his different items. But there was one thing that's always eluded me. And as you can see behind me, I love a collection of magazines. I've shown them off a number of times over my career with them, and especially the image on the front, but as I researched, I found that I could only find one magazine that featured Carl Erskine on the front of the magazine, and I never could find it. In fact, I've seen them out there, and it's not even an expensive one. They just don't come up a whole lot. Well, my wife knew this. She found one, came up, and she got it for me. So for Christmas, I got from 1952, October 1952, the Baseball Digest, which shows Carl Erskine on the cover. And this is kind of it's just a weekly thing. You probably may even remember Baseball Digest years later, when you were growing up. The articles are not exactly hard-hitting. They're kind of 1 to 2 page little featurettes, and they're kind of interesting, and there's some interesting things in there. But to me, this is cool because it's got my man, Carl Erskine, right there on the front. Well, after I had done the the video with Dan, one of his viewers, a friend of his channel, named Tony, reached out and said, "Hey, I noticed as Drew was showing off his stuff that there was a card he was missing, and I want to give him one." So Dan connected me and Tony together. We chatted, texted a bit, actually had a phone call, and just today I received a gift. And believe it or not, even though I've collected all this, I've never had this card, but he gave me the Red Man, Carl Erskine, and not only that, it's autographed. So, Tony, I know I thanked you privately, but I want to publicly thank you. Thank you so much. It goes absolutely into my personal collection. I will display it with pride with my other Carl Erskine items. But it got me to looking. This autograph is so cool. And I've got, I don't know, a bunch of them. And I started thinking, I wonder how many I actually have. See, Erskine was one of those guys that would sign through the mail freely. He didn't charge for anything, and he lived into his 90s. In fact, he just passed away less than 2 years ago. And even up until he passed away, he was still a great TTMer and just would sign. He was very quick turnaround. The first one I ever got back was from Carl Erskine. So I'm going to show you that. And I've shown it before, but still, I sent him a 1952 Bowman, and I have it attached, or at least the penny sleeve it's attached to the page that I did, but he signed the card right across his chest. It probably wasn't the best choice for me to send because it's kind of a darker card, but he did sign Carl Erskine, 1955 World Series champs, and then he thanked me for the letter and signed it there. So we're going to count along. I have the one from Tony. There's 2 and 3. A bit later, I had sent him another letter, and I asked him if he would sign a baseball for me. And not only did he sign a baseball, but he sent back a complete stat ball that has his World Series appearances. He pitched 2 different no-hitters, and he put both out there, both of those on the ball. So another great Carl Erskine piece. So let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different signatures. Over the years, I've gotten gifts from people, especially in the YouTube community. So I've got this one, which would be 5. Great redone of the 91 Topps. This one, which I believe Jason, Mr. Fisherbite, gave me this one. And that's a great one. So that's what, 7? And then 8, here's another one. Somebody else sent me this. I don't remember who, but I have it written somewhere. Not only that, I had written him again a few times, and I'm trying to think. So I've got these letters. I'll get to that one in a second. This one I actually wrote him, and he actually wrote, not just answered my questions, he actually wrote almost a whole page back and signed it again. So that would be 9. Great. I've got one that I won't show, so we're going to count that as 10. You're just going to have to trust it exists. And then, let's see. This one is another one. Trying to think what this is. Oh, this is when I got his book, and I just wrote him and said, hey, I want to thank you for writing this book. I really appreciate it. His book, if you don't know it, is called What I Learned from Jackie Robinson, and it's a great book. It talks about Robinson's struggles and what Erskine witnessed as a teammate, but how Robinson still went out of his way to welcome Erskine, who was younger than him, to come into the league. And then later on, after Erskine's retirement, he went through a lot personally with his family stuff, and some of the lessons he had learned from Jackie Robinson, he was able to apply to his own struggles and finally triumphs within his life. So I wrote him about the book, and he wrote me back, believe it or not, and said, Drew, thank you. I appreciate the book. Chapter 14 is my best. So there's another one. And to be honest, I don't remember the count. What are we at? 10? I think 10 autographs. And then the other one that I have, and it's mounted and it's on a wall, so I'm just going to show a picture, but I had sent a picture to him and asked him if he would specifically sign it a certain way. In fact, this is the letter that I wrote him explaining in detail what I wanted. He not only did it, he signed the bottom of that. So that would be 11, I think. And then he signed the photo, and I'm going to show a photo of it here, but it is a picture of him pitching, and it talks about in 1953 World Series where he set the, at that point, time record of 14 strikeouts in one World Series game, and he actually added all 14 strikeout victims to the top of the photograph. Not only that, I have a ticket to that World Series game, and it's also mounted with another TTM from somebody else that I had gotten a lot years ago. So I think that brings us up to, 13 or 14 different autographs. But honestly, I'm not really counting because it doesn't matter. Each one that I get is still special. It's still sweet. Is there anybody in your collection that you just can't get enough of? I mean, I know I like this guy and whatever, and it'd be great to have something, but you end up getting multiples, whether it's the same card over and over or same player, a signature, just like Carl Erskine is for me. Who's in your collection that you just can't get enough of? I want to hear about it. And anyway, thanks for coming along, looking at my Carl Erskine stuff. And until next time, you guys be good.